Good evening, good people, and welcome to this Working Families Party Mass Call, where we're going to recap the 2025 elections and prepare for 2026. I know that you know that the 2026 elections begin right now, y'all. You're already doing what we need you to do. You're saying who you are, where you're calling in from, if you rep an organization, particularly a branch of our incredible party. Please feel free to shout that out in the chat. I am Ashley Woodard Henderson, your host for tonight, and I'm so excited to be gathered together after a night like last night. WFP has held mass calls after key elections in 2020 and in 2022 and in 2024, and now we're adding 2025 to the list. We hope that the Working Families Party will be your home for reflection on what was won and what was lost, and how working families can be even stronger together as we head into the 2026 elections. On today's call, we're going to hear from our brother, the National Director of the Working Families Party, Maurice Mitchell. He's going to give us a recap of last night's elections and the lessons we should learn from them. And then Congresswoman Delia Ramirez out of Chicago is going to get us ready for 2026. I know y'all got questions about what's next. So you're in the right place, because that's where we're going to answer some of those questions. And along the way, we'll let you know concrete actions that you can take that will help all of us build more power to put this country in the hands of working people. Are you in the right place? I think you are, and we're glad that you're here. One thing before we get into it, our environment is full of disinformation and bots. What's welcome here is working people with diverse opinions. We're coming together across differences to build working families' power. Let's engage each other by witnessing each other's personal experiences, even when they're different from one another. What we don't tolerate in this sacred space that we're building together is hate and lies. So if you see any hateful messages in the chat, I want you to flood it out with messages of solidarity and love and other positive messages, and trust that our team sees it and is going to take care of it. Now, like we do on these mass calls, we're going to take a moment to get grounded. So I invite you to, before you take your deep breaths with me, to invite your friends, tell everybody on your socials that you're with us. Make sure you hit the group chats and send it to all of your buddies, get everybody in here. And then when you've done that, I want you to take a second, sit back, feel your body supported by your chair or your couch or your bed or the ground underneath you. You can close your eyes if you want to. You can take your eyes off the screen. You can let the chat be still for a moment. And I want you to just take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. We've been running before and since last night. And here we are, about 1 year from the 2024 election. Very different vibe for this mass call. We're more than a month into a government shutdown, though. And this week, that shutdown is hitting historic milestones, and I don't mean it in a good way. For the first time in American history, this government shutdown means that many families already living in poverty didn't receive the help they rely on to feed their families. Childcare centers didn't receive checks that they normally do to keep their operations running. Thousands of our people have lost jobs this year, both government workers and non-government workers. All of us have sat infuriated watching tear gas fly and armed mass agents of three-letter agencies on television kidnap and disappear our neighbors, sometimes our family members. Some of us may have had the experience in person. Y'all, they want us to be isolated. They want us to be scared, afraid. They want us to lose hope and be in despair. But in the midst of the struggles that we see all the ways working people are beginning to unite and fight back against it. I'm going to take some deep breaths, and I want to invite you to take them with me. I want us to breathe in the courage of our ancestors and breathe out the fear. I want us to breathe in, visualizing the family and friends and people in this space who have each other's back. And I want you to breathe out isolation. We're not alone tonight. I want you to take a moment to breathe in faith and hope and belief that there is light at the end of this tunnel for all of us. We could get everything we want right now if we play our cards right. And I want you to breathe out despair. I want you to think of a journey you were on that seemed like it would never end, but then you reached the other side. Maybe it was a long car trip with your screaming kids. Maybe it was a journey across borders to a new and strange land to flee from persecution or to seek a better life. Maybe it was a journey of growth and healing where you shed the burdens of pain and generational trauma that have held you back. I want you to think about and feel how good it felt to arrive at some new place. Think of the sense of possibility mixed with anxiety about what comes next, but always grounded in a sense of relief and self-confidence that if we did that hard thing, if you did that hard thing, if I did that hard thing, then we could do whatever is next. We just saw a happy warrior get elected to the largest city in the country, y'all. Mamdani. You should learn how to say it, right? Zohran Mamdani in New York City. That man, that movement gave us a glimmer of hope that we can be a part of something bigger than any one of us alone, and that working people can unite. We are powerful when we do so. The cab drivers who work 12-hour shifts, the renters who are silently packing up and being forced to leave by greedy landlords, the working class people of all races, of all backgrounds, of all creeds who make our cities and our towns, our hospitals and our waste management systems, our schools and our daycare centers, and our very actual lives possible. Y'all, those regular ass people, they just won. We just won. And we're in this together. We've taken one step on a new journey that we're all on together to build the governing power of working people, not to just return things to the mythological status quo that once was. We're not trying to go back to some old normal that never actually served us, but to remake our country together. It's going to take every single one of us doing our part. And there's going to be so many battles along the way. We know that the 2026 election is just one of those things, but let's be very, very real. It is a test. It's a very real next test. It's a very real next big test. So I want to ask you, are you ready to get to the work of making sure that this feeling lasts up to and through next November, a year from now? Are you ready to be one in the number of people that makes this movement so ginormously successful that we get to feel this feeling a year from now? If you're ready, I want you to tell me I'm ready in the chat. Tell me you're ready. I want to see you. Tell me you're ready to be a part of this great movement. Because if you're ready, then I think we should get this party started. Y'all, we're going to announce so many things tonight that you can do to take action. But the very first of those things, y'all know what it is. Get your phones ready. I want you to text mass call to 30403. Again, the first thing that you can do is text mass call to 30403. When you do that, it puts you in connection with Working Families Party so that we can give you a list of the multiple ways you can take action. The first thing we're asking for people to do, and for those of you that were on our last mass call, you know this. The first thing we're asking you to do after you make that text is to call your senator about the healthcare crisis and the government shutdown. Thanks to the wannabe king Donald Trump and congressional Republicans, this federal government shutdown is now the longest in history, and it's impacting our communities. If you haven't been on calls with us yet during the shutdown, let me give you just a really brief summary of what's happening. Donald Trump has shut down the government because he doesn't want to lower healthcare costs. And now he's needlessly cutting funding to SNAP to hurt our communities more during the shutdown while he continues to hold healthcare hostage. A few days ago, the ACA open enrollment period began for millions of Americans, and people cannot afford the cost of their premiums. Between the start of open enrollment and the incredible election wins last night, Donald Trump is starting to get the message. We won't let him bankrupt working families just so he can pass tax cuts for his billionaire buddies. We are in a critical moment right now, y'all. So I need you to take this call to action seriously. Make sure your senator knows that you want ACA healthcare credits extended and an end to the shutdown, not one or the other. That until we get our healthcare, keep this thing closed. And I want you to make sure that you let your congressperson know that you know these calls make a difference. I know some of you have been calling and calling and calling for months now. Those calls actually are what is giving them the audacity to continue to fight for our health care. So I'm asking you to make a call to your senator today, tomorrow, over and over. I want you to get your friends to do it as well. I want us to make these calls every single day that this shutdown continues. These calls make a huge difference. So again, text mass call to 30403. You'll put your zip code in and you'll get a script and a phone number to call so that you can make your call to the senator today. So again, call your senators every day, demanding that they end the shutdown without betraying working families. If you've turned in to these calls before, if you've watched the recordings in the past, this next guest does not need any introduction. He is a leader. He is a visionary. He is an organizer's organizer. He helped to build the movement for Black lives that was, is, and will be truly historic in this country. I'm proud to walk with my brother in this struggle. I want you all to give it up one time, show as much love as you can muster for the incredible Maurice Mitchell, the national director of the Working Families Party. He's going to break down what just happened yesterday in the election, and he's going to call us into what comes next. Mo, I'll kick it to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you. Our Minister of Solidarity for our movement. We see you and appreciate you. Oh man. And how how is everyone doing? Like, I know it could be kind of awkward because we're talking to each other virtually, but truly, how are you doing? If you're able to mention it in the chat, go on, mention it in the chat. And there's no way to be that's the okay way to be. We accept all of you in whatever condition you bring yourself to this call. So tonight, it's my pleasure to give you a rundown on last night's election. I'm going to start by talking about what happened in my home turf on the East Coast. And now you had to be under a rock if you haven't been watching the meteoric rise of Zohran Mamdani, running to be the next mayor of New York City. Mayor-elect Mamdani withstood $40 million in super PAC spending by billionaires and earned more than 1 million votes, the most votes cast for any candidate for New York City mayor since 1965. Now, New York is one of the places where the Working Families Party is a true and authentic and deep third party that has its own ballot line. So last night, more people voted on the WFP ballot line than the Republican ballot line. That is how a third party becomes a second party, y'all. We can't say third party anymore in New York City when we're overtaking the Republicans in our vote share. Overall, we elected 5 third-party candidates on the WFP ballot lines in New York and in Connecticut, right? So when I say that, I mean independent WFP people. Now, let's break it down. The East Coast wasn't finished with WFP-backed candidates flipping Republican-held offices like Mayor of New Britain, Connecticut, where Bobby Sanchez disrupted 15 years of Republican rule, and in Erie County, PA, where we took another Republican seat back. We swept, we swept on 3 mayoral seats. 3. Buffalo, Syracuse, and Albany. And PA WFP, including our partners in Make the Road, One PA, and PA United, and so many of you on this call organized the largest field program in the state, targeting voters who normally don't show up, one block at a time. Despite millions in billionaire spending against us, we retained our 3 state Supreme Court seats in Pennsylvania. These are just some of the highlights from our East. So drop in the chat the races that you were watching in the East Coast. All right, let's go up the middle from the Midwest to the Front Range. There was a rumble in Dayton, Ohio, when Shanice Turner Sloss upset the incumbent for mayor. WFP backed candidates Denzel McCampbell and Gabriela Santiago Romero won in Detroit. Colorado saw three new mayors elected and a union sweep of the school board in Denver. All right, let's go down to the dirty, dirty South. Okay, the ladies were on fire. The ladies were in the building. Elizabeth Guzman, Kim Pope Adams, Nicole Cole, Leslie Mehta, and Jessica Anderson flipped Republican held districts in Virginia, helping to build the biggest Democratic caucus in a generation. WFP backed Dr. Alicia Johnson defeated a Republican for statewide office in Georgia. Yes, a black woman did that. Populist Ghazala Hashmi, whom we backed in the primary, run for lieutenant governor of Virginia and became the first Muslim woman statewide office holder in America. It's hard to believe in 2025 that we're still counting these first, but it's incredible that we've been able to secure it with a true populist WFP candidate. Uh, and it's incredible what we're building in Virginia and beyond. And shout out to Justin Crosby, who also flipped his House seat from the GOP in Mississippi, y'all. In Mississippi. Again, drop the races that you supported. Let people know who your preferred candidates were. And let's move to the West Coast. All right. So we already know that California voters dealt Trump a resounding rebuke by overwhelmingly passing Proposition 50 that responds to Republican mid-year redistricting efforts by creating up to five more potential Democratic seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. In Seattle, while some mail ballots are still to be counted, multiple WFP candidates could claim victory. And Arizona came up with victories on Tucson City Council. So keep dropping in the chat your favorites from the West, from the Midwest, from the East Coast, from the Dirty South. And what I want to do as you're dropping your favorites, I want to make sure we take away five collective lessons from last night's races. Lesson number one, affordability and bold economic messages win. I know there's a lot we all are against right now, but without a vision, the people will perish. We have to unite people around what we're fighting for, not just what we're fighting against. Folks are disillusioned with the jellyfish inside the Democratic Party, and they want to hear an independent message from us. Lesson number two, candidates matter. Zoran may be a once-in-a-generation personality, but all over the country, everyday people stepped up to give their neighbors something that they could see in the mirror. People just like them to vote for. We need working people with real lived experiences like everyday working people have to go through, connected to our movements to run for office. The more we run, the more we will win. Lesson number three, organizing still matters, even against big money. Knocking 3 million doors in New York City mattered. Yeah. Pennsylvania WFP building an army of organizations block by block, that mattered. When we intentionally organized Latino voters in New Jersey this cycle, they were critical in winning all the way up to the New Jersey governorship. It mattered. Number four, taking over local seats increases our power to defend our communities. Our opponents want us to doubt if there will be an election in 2026. They want us to fear redistricting and losing the Voting Rights Act so much that we won't believe that we could possibly win. Don't give into the fear mongering. Cynicism is a project of the far right. Local elections are essential leverage points to push back against the billionaire agenda trying to impoverish our families. Today, we have more mayors leading and uniting working people, more state Supreme Court justices protecting our rights, more school board members defending our children, and that makes us more powerful than we were yesterday. Lesson number five, y'all. We have more work to do. We didn't win everything. We didn't win everywhere. And the road in 2026 and 2028 and 2030 and beyond will get tougher. The empire strikes back. So we're leaving tonight hopeful. We're leaving tonight rejuvenated. and ready to fight. If you have family or friends that are not on this call, that did not knock a door, that did not move a voter, ask them to join us now. We need nothing less than an army of volunteers to combat misinformation and spread the truth. And I want to be clear, our duty in this moment is to build the largest, most diverse, most leaderful movement for justice in our nation's history and in our lifetimes. Nothing more and nothing less. Every day that a person who did not vote in 2026 suffers, or when someone who voted for Trump is impacted, we want to meet them with the message of how working people can come together and win a new America that puts our families first. Lastly, the 2025 election season is not done yet. Special elections and runoffs are still going on, for example, in a Jersey City mayor's race, we're really excited about, and a special election for Congress in Tennessee on December 2nd. So shout out to all those still running. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to all the people that collectively built this movement and continue to build this movement and build our party. Ash, back to you.
You heard the man, and we saw Dylan's call to action in the chat. Y'all can share this live stream with 5 people right now. We can make those invitations right now to our people to come and join this powerful movement. And here's my call to action. If you reflect back on the past year since the election and the only people you see at your side are folks that voted like you did, that's simply just not good enough. It's necessary but insufficient. And in the coming year, I'm asking each of us to shift a portion of our time to building relationships with people and moving people who were too disillusioned to show up last year or who were attracted by the divisive lies of the right. If someone thought their family would be better off this year, I want us to meet them with truth and talk through how they're experiencing these increased grocery prices, what it feels like for their utility bills to be going up, these job layoffs being rampant in their communities, all while these billionaire bros make record profits with our money. Let's have the conversation. And if we're willing to do that, if you tonight are willing to have these conversations, I want you to text the words mass call to 30403. Sign our pledge saying that you are willing to fight. Sign the pledge. Use the map to find an orientation or a canvas where you can talk to working people. At those orientations, you're going to get scripts to talk to working people who are suffering, who are struggling, who might be finding joy in building community too, but who are being impacted by this administration's evil. We want to help meet their needs. We want it to be mutually beneficial to be in this movement. We also want to spread truth and ask them if they're ready to join a fight, not just against cuts, but for our families. We know the real reason we have SNAP benefits is because billionaire corporations won't pay for families for their work. They won't pay. We're not just demanding a return to SNAP benefits, y'all. We're demanding a good job for every single working person in this country. Let me make this clear. We're not just trying to fight for what we would concede to. I told you we're not going back to an old normal. We're trying to fight for what we've always deserved. So if you're ready to join that fight, if you're ready to talk to working people, I want you to text mass call to 30403. I want you to pay close attention to the working class focus, engaging with working families of all colors, especially in targeted geographies. I want you to take the Willing to Fight pledge, and I want you to find an orientation, a canvas, a phone bank, etc. You're going to get the scripts to spread the truth, build the demands that we're all willing to fight for. Now, when I started this call, I said that the 2026 election starts today, but I have to admit to you that I lied, and I promised that I would never lie to you. So let me correct it. For many of us, the 2026 election started months ago. This past April, I was a part of an extraordinary meeting convened by the Working Families Party where we launched a project called Team 26. The very premise of this meeting was both humble and audacious at the same damn time. It was humble because we started by recognizing that what we've been doing is individual organizations and siloed movements simply was not working, is not working. Let me be clear. We're doing incredible things all across this country, but it's not been enough. Now, that's why it was a little humbling, but it was audacious because we set our sights on trying to overcome the forces of political gravity that so often weigh us down as people who care about elections and electoral outcomes. So, we put some bass in our chest about what we wanted. And I kicked off that meeting reading out the purpose statement that the group had set for itself. I'm going to share some of the top lines with you, and I'm curious if you agree with them. So, as I read through them, there are four of them. I want you to just tell me in the chat if you agree. The first is none of us can win alone. We need a higher degree of alignment, coordination, and organization amongst us. If you agree with that, tell me you agree in the chat. None of us can win alone. We need a higher degree of alignment, coordination, and organization. That's number one. Number two, our shared task is to build our own voter bloc of working class people across race and region. We trying to build a party, y'all. Not we trying, we building a party. We building a party of working class people across race and region. If you agree with that, let me know in the chat. Number three, we seek to set our own strategy, not just implement the strategy of others. Y'all know who I'm talking about. We're trying to set our own strategy. If you agree with that, I want you to put it in the chat. I'm seeing your agrees. I see the yeses. All right. And last but certainly not least, number four, therefore, because all of these things are true, we should pick a set of congressional races now that we agree to work on together. Work on together across our movement silos, work together across our difference in race and region and creed. But we should set a set of congressional races now. We should pick a set of congressional races now that we agree to work on together. If you agree with that, put it in the chat. And I'm going to ask you for all four of them, are you aligned with that purpose? And if you're aligned with that purpose, I want you to tell me you're aligned. Because today, I'm inviting every single one of you to be a part of Team 26. Are you ready to take on this fight? I need to know it. Let me know in the chat. Eli said 100%. Let's go. Let's do this. Our next speaker knows a whole lot about the United States Congress. She was first elected to Congress to represent the incredible 3rd District in Illinois in 2022. She's the daughter of undocumented immigrants from Guatemala. She has served in the Illinois State House, and throughout her career, she's fought for housing and stable schools, reliable and responsible government, and public safety and justice reform. And she's a proud Working Families Party champion. Everybody, I want you to show some love. Give it up to People's Champion, Congresswoman Ramirez. Congresswoman, I'll toss it to you.
Ashley, listen, you are definitely ministering to me today with hope, with resolve, and that commitment to the justice work that we do every day. Hey, y'all. Hi, Working Families Party. Greetings from Chicago, a city that is feeling the urgency to be the epicenter of resistance to ICE in this moment. And I got to tell you, it is so good to be with all of you today. I went to bed last night feeling really pumped up and ready to get things done this morning. Ashley, you asked, are you ready? Post it on the chat. Are you ready? Well, y'all may not know this, but my campaign slogan 8 years ago when I announced that I was running with my team, we said, we're not just ready, we're rooted and ready. And since we've been in the State House and in Congress, we also added another R, which is rooted, ready with receipts. Because at the end of the day, the work that we do is about actually governing in such a way that it transforms the policy that centers our working families. So it is so good to be with all of you. And frankly, we're ready to work. I mean, yes, we celebrated last night. We've been celebrating in the morning. We needed this encouragement. My soul needed this encouragement. But now we're getting ready to mobilize, to build power, to continue to fight back against authoritarianism, and to elect more working class champions. The 2026 congressional election cycle is here. I just filed my petitions a week ago. And yes, on Monday was the last day for anyone to file. Someone filed against me. We're going to figure it out. But I know the work that we have to do. And so I can't overstate how important it is that we're building that power, that we're shaping that platform. And frankly, that we're putting a check on Donald Trump's power. And what we need right now more than ever, and let me tell you, I walk through those halls of Congress. I know the people that serve with me. We need opposition leaders. We need the opposition leaders that are not going to make excuses about we're in the minority, we can't get things done, but that have the moral courage and resolve to get things done with every single tool at our disposal. And that means that we also need these leaders at every level of government, whether it's city council, whether it's at the state level, whether it is governors, mayors, or congress people. Because we need leaders with moral courage and resolve more than ever. And we have to, y'all. We desperately have to take the House and Senate back with working people's champions, not just Democrats. There's a lot of Democrats out there. You and I know who we need. We need more Summer Lees. We need more Greg Casars. We need more Rashida Tlaibs. We need backup. And so here at WFP, we know that the best way to get working class voters out on election day is to run working class champions, people who actually understand what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck, people who actually understand what's at stake when the marketplace, all of a sudden you're going to go and renew your insurance premium and you're seeing it double. I pay for my mom's health care because last year she got knocked off of Medicaid because my parents happened to own their home. And that was enough to knock them off Medicaid. We need people that actually understand what it's like to have to deal with figuring out how to keep your mother on healthcare insurance while also fighting these billionaires, these insurance companies that want to take everything from us. And we need people who are willing to unapologetically take on billionaires and that come from movement and reject corporate contributions. And so that means that we're going to need everyone's help to ensure that strong WFP champions win, that they win in Democratic primaries, that they win in general elections. And look, here in my state, in the state of Illinois, primaries are less than 5 months away. There are 6 open seats in Illinois. I may get a new delegation. We may even be able to get a couple of working families. No, not maybe. I know Maurice is like, what you mean maybe? We mean we're going to get working families champions from Illinois to back me up in Congress. And we're going to do it together because we know how to mobilize, we know how to organize effectively, and we know how to win. So look, I'm gonna wrap up in a second, and I want to say this to you. Right as I was doing a live interview today, talking about Zoran's win, talking about the win in Syracuse where we got one of our own as a mayor of Syracuse, talking about what's happening around the country, my phone was blowing up. And it was about a daycare in my community where a teacher was taken by ICE after they chased her inside the daycare while children were there. One of the people that worked there, I know personally. I'm connected to, I'm related to. She called and called. And when I got off my interview and I went to go check, I realized that this was happening in that daycare. I ran to do the rapid response work that every single member of Congress should be doing. But the fact is that this is an agency of terror that's attempting to break us into submission. And I need colleagues in Congress who are willing to fight like hell and call it what it is. We have legislation right now where we don't have 215 Democrats on it. Every single Democrat should be on the sensitive locations bill. And I've called it out today in pressers. I've started calling members directly. Every one of them should be there. This is not just about like, it's the Republicans. We all have a responsibility to show up in this moment. And that is why it makes a difference when you have a working families party champion in Congress who is unwilling to stay quiet when they're terrorizing our communities, shows up to the daycare, talks to the daycare, puts together a press conference, helps that family find an attorney. That is what I'm talking about. That is what Zoran represents. That is what you and I represent. And I need more of that in Congress. So I want to say a quick word about the federal government shutdown because I know my time is up. And I know that you're all going to make a lot of calls to your senators tonight and tomorrow. Please make those calls. I know that I just kind of plugged in one of the bills that every Democrat should be on. Also, the no secret police bill, which would make it impossible for them to continue to mask their faces and be emboldened. But look, we really have an opportunity this week to successfully pressure Republicans, especially Donald Trump, to come to negotiate into the negotiating table and make a deal with Democrats that would lower the cost of healthcare. We can do that. Organizing works. You know it. You've seen it. We win when we organize. So keep making those calls. Keep letting senators know that you expect them to show up because we showed up last night. We need our senators to do the same every single day to make sure that we hold the line, that we restore healthcare credits, that we fight like hell for Medicaid, and that we make sure that no person is starving as a result of this Republican government shutdown. So let's keep organizing, let's keep mobilizing, and let me tell you, until my dying moment, I will fight like hell for this community, for this country, and for the collective liberation that you and I are building through the Working Families Party. Let's go, because I'm rooted, I'm ready, and we got receipts.
Y'all show some love. Y'all been blowing up the chat, but show some love to this people's champion for taking time out of an incredibly busy schedule to be here with us tonight. We are also rooted and ready. We also trying to get these receipts. You know, the brilliant quote that power concedes nothing without a demand. We have organized demands and we are the consequence. So we're going to make those calls, Congresswoman. Thank you for giving us our call to action tonight. We appreciate you. Y'all, you heard the good Congresswoman tell it. We need all of us in this fight to take back Congress in 2026. Every single one of us and some. And if you're ready to be a part of our team 26 to do the work, I need you to text mass call to 30403. I promise you that it is the way that we're going to be able to give you the bat signal to come together again. It's the way that we're going to be able to share with you all the links to our calls to action so you can get this work done. It's how you're going to be able to make the calls to your senator. So please, please, please text mass call to 30403. And then I want you to text 5 friends. I want you to tell them to do the same thing. On our future calls, we're going to be diving really deep into the path ahead. We're going to explore the threats, but we're also going to do a deep dive into the opportunities so that we can flex our power together. As we wrap up this call, I want to acknowledge that there are still 56 days left in 2025. 56 days. And it might feel like that's really short, but y'all, I want to tell you, as the daughter of a working class mama who was dependent on SNAP, that that's a really long time. It's a long time for people who lost their jobs this year. It's a long time for Trump to illegally defy court orders holding up SNAP benefits. It's a long time for him to throw temper tantrums and send troops and ICE to our communities, especially communities that are run by working families champions. There's a lot of fronts of struggle right now. And while elections are important, that doesn't make the tactics of boycotting billionaires. Shout out to our Target and T-Mobile and Home Depot and Disney Plus and Spotify homies. It doesn't make it less important to surround our immigrant communities with protection and to provide immediate aid to feed and keep warm and hold down working families through the holidays and as winter becomes a real significant, impactful thing. None of that is any less important. But what's real is if we don't get governing power, these struggles will continue. So I want you to find your place on a front line. Find a place that demonstrates your commitment to resistance. It's not enough just to have the values of working families. It's not enough to know that it's important to be active in this moment. We have to do solidarity right now. We have to be the movement that wins governing power for working families. I want you to find the thing that gives you meaning, that gives you purpose, that helps you be full of fortitude and resilient. I want you to block and build. I want you to block the authoritarian threat, and I want you to build working families' power. I want you to block greed, billionaire greed, and corporate Democrats. And I want you to build this party of our dreams that we've always deserved. There are 3 things that I want you to consider. Number 1, I want you to add an additional focus on your time. For those of you who want to help us with the critical job of elections, I'm going to ask you again to commit right now to making a time shift. We're not going to grow our numbers by only being around those who think exactly like we do. Coming to the calls won't even be enough. We need to meet the suffering that is spreading all over this country with our truth and be an embodied invitation to build a new America. We get to define what's next. We're not trying to build back to any old thing. Crises are terrible, but the glimmer of opportunity is that these crises could be our turning point. While this administration destroys, we could be builders. Some of y'all won't demand things until the bottom falls out. Well, I'm telling you, I'm the canary in the coal mine here in Tennessee. The bottom's fallen out. And as cruelty reigns in this country, as evil tries to become comfortable in the White House, with billionaires taking home record profits as working families suffer, even middle class families are facing poverty. Now is the time, my friends, to build a movement for our families. I want you to consider making a time commitment to that sacred work. Number two, I want you to listen to and add to your message for working people. Y'all, we live in the richest country in the world, but working people can't afford groceries. Working people can't afford rent. Working people can't afford health care while some billionaires pay less in taxes than our teachers. Prices rise, wages stay flat, and politicians look the other way and often take money from the same corporations that make our lives harder. The game is rigged, y'all. And it's trying to make working families, working people, always the loser for benefits to billionaires. We're done playing by those rules. It's time for leadership from the bottom up. I'm looking at you. It's time for you to step it up. Working people demanding power in a country that works for all of us. And it's time for us to be about the work that sees it done. You deserve, we all deserve a home that you can afford. We all deserve, you deserve healthcare you can rely on. We all deserve time to spend with our families. We all deserve childcare when and where you need it. We all deserve a meaningful job to support our families. We can pay for this, all of this and more by taxing the billionaires so that they pay their fair share. I want you to sign the Willing to Fight pledge and then help build a set of demands for working people to fight for. And ultimately, an agenda that candidates all across this country that support our movement can run on. Mamdani turned out 1 million voters demanding affordability in New York. Y'all remember? It was 3 things. Tell me what the 3 things were in the chat. Freeze the rent. Fast and free buses. Right? Give them to me. What are they? Put them in the chat. Fast and free buses, rent, affordability. Let's build a set of demands for America. We could do that. We need to organize working people around a set of demands, things we want to fight for, not just what we're against. It's important to say what we're against, right? We're going to block that stuff, but it's important for us to have something to fight for. I know that sounds basic, but if we actually won them, can you feel how that would transform our lives, how that would transform this system? Complete the pledge yourself. And then I want you to commit to talking to working people. Sign up for our orientations, and we'll send you materials and help you target top geographies that we can win. We have to win. Use the scripts to talk to friends and family members who are suffering right now, your neighbors. Talk to folks where you do your movement work, your service work. Let's meet community needs and build our power to govern at the same time. And number 3, I want you to be sharp about the geographies that we need to win. Unfortunately, we live in a country with an old system of pseudo-democracy. Our winner-takes-all system has been replaced in many countries by systems with many parties, and where if your party gets 20% of the votes, you get 25% of the seats, not a winner-take-all system like what we have here. This means that, unfortunately, here in the United States, there are safe districts where it's really hard to see change, and there's swing districts where the votes of the people are a little bit more consequential. It's not fair. It wasn't built to be fair. And we don't like that, but it's true. To challenge the two-party system effectively, we need to be able to win in places like Bakersfield, California, the Hudson Valley in New York, the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania. And in the coming months, we're going to learn these geographies and figure out how to impact them at the federal level and in states where we could flip the legislature next year. If you live in or near one of those districts, we're going to really need your regular commitment. We know you've been at it for years. We know some of you maybe just got involved in movement just now, but you feel like you've been at it for years. But I promise you, we wouldn't be making this ask if we weren't willing to show up to support you with new skills, new tools, new messages. And if you know people who live in those places, ask them to join us on our next mass call. If you don't live close to those places, you can still support from a distance because it's going to take every single one of us. So again, my call to action. I want you to engage with working families of all colors, especially in these targeted geographies. I want you to take the Willing to Fight pledge. We're going to drop these links in the chat and you're going to get them after this call is over. And I want you to find an orientation, a canvas, a phone bank. You're going to get the scripts to spread the truth, build the demands that we're all willing to fight for. I want you to call your senators. We're going to give you the script for that. I need you to stay active. Okay, y'all. We've come to the end of yet another powerful evening after what was a history-making moment last night. Thank you to each of our speakers and to every single one of you for not regarding it robbery to be with us tonight. I want you to remember that we have been here before, good people. Let's feel good about what we've done. Let's celebrate the incredible amount of work that it took to hit millions of doors, make millions of phone calls to get working families champions elected. And take it as encouragement. Let's remember how this feels. Take a mental and emotional screenshot of how good last night felt. And take that with you as encouragement for what is going to be extremely difficult work ahead. You heard our brother Mo Mitchell say the empire is going to strike back. They're going to make it harder to have free and fair elections. So we've got to up our game. As these Congress people capitulate or even feel like they might capitulate on making us choose between healthcare and food by reopening the government without any concessions from the Trump administration, we've got to ratchet it up a notch. And I want you to remember this moment when that feels hard. I want you to remember the stories that you've heard on these mass calls and use that as the fodder that fans the righteous rage that you've got inside you and moves you to be active. As always, no one is coming to save us but us. This is how it's always been. Winning is going to require disciplined and strategic actions that we commit to taking together. I want you to tell me if you're committed to taking the action with us. I am blessed beyond measure to have the leadership of the Working Families Party helping to guide me to take those steps. I am blessed beyond measure to receive these calls to action and to be able to execute them with you, each and every single one of you. I'm proud to be in this movement with you. As new developments unfold, and I promise you they will, we will be reaching back out for more opportunities like this to gather. If you want to make sure you get the bat signal when it's time to gather again, before we close out, I want to be sure that you have texted mass call to 30403. Message it to all your group chats, all your listservs, put it on all your socials. It's time to build our movement even bigger, even stronger, and make sure that as many of our people as possible have access to these calls to actions tonight. Y'all, we have come to the conclusion of this call, and yet there is more to do. I can't wait to see you in the streets. I cannot wait to see you on these phone banks. I can't wait to hear your stories of calling and putting pressure on your senators. And I can't wait to continue to see the results of what it looks like when we build this party together. Thank y'all for being here tonight. We love you. Good night.